We're going to be going over 4 major elements for success. And thankfully, big fan of Jay Shetty. And these were actually off of one of his coaching websites that I was doing some research on. So enjoy the show and cheers to success, my friends. Financially free and enjoy more of what the world has to offer in this action one, because this is where most human beings screw the pooch. So a little one-person trampoline, very if I screen shared it. Like, there's no excuse. Like, phone numbers are just out there. You just got to pick up the phone, smile, and dial. So, good morning, and welcome back to another episode of the Talk Tanner Morning Show, where we go over tips, tricks, ideas, and exercises to help make you the absolute best entrepreneur you can be, not only for yourself, but for the people you love and care about most. That's who we fight for day in and day out. Good morning to you. Let's start our morning off on the right foot with these 4 elements of success. So shout out to Jay Shetty. This is actually, I was reading a couple of his articles and looking over some of his notes. I think a huge tip, pro bono tip, is study the competition. So that's our little pro tip for the day. Study the competition. So I like to look at other people's coaching websites, other people's articles, read other people's newsletters, and it really helps form the ideas and a better understanding of what I can bring and what is my competitive advantage. But for elements of success, so that's a little pro tip that we want to put on there to start the morning, because we're jam-packed with value. So we have the 4 elements of success. The 4 elements of success. What comes in at number 1? Let's get right into it. We have knowledge. This is where we find opportunities. This is where we create understanding. This is where we're able to create strategy and planning. There's so many to it. So if we could wrap it up in a word, and the keyword, I'm going to have a keyword behind each one of these, and then I'm going to come back and we'll go through a couple questions to help with this morning. But this is decision making. Decision making. So that's our key word for knowledge, is being able to make decisions. Everything is a choice, making a decision, whether what you want to wear today, what you want to eat today, where you want to go, who you want to talk to, who you want to speak to. Knowledge allows us to make decisions. So on to number 2. So that is the first pillar, first element of success is knowledge. Up on number 2, we have action. And this is where I'm getting really excited in the coaching space, and how I bring what I bring to the table as a teacher. In my classes, you talk directly to me, and we're making sure, just holding people accountable to do this piece. This piece is the hardest. I gotta say, it is hard. Taking action is hard, but knowledge is not power without the action that follows it. If we want to truly change our lives, we must have action. And a key word that we wanted to add here, I had in my notes, this is tangible. So this is tangible. Action is something that we can truly measure. Action is something that truly makes the changes in our lives and what we're doing today. So if we want to reach our level of success that we're focusing on this morning, we need to be able to take action. So maybe you think to yourself this morning, what is one thing I could do today? What is one step I could do to get closer to my number 1 goal? And we'll have a few questions here in a moment that I'll bring up on the banners for us to read. But for number 2 element of success is after we learn, so we make a decision, then we must act on the decision. The number 2 element of success. Number 3, we have coming in at support. it's pretty wild. So I value myself on a lot of respects doing this one person business model. I think this is how most businesses start out. And I think in today's day and age, without outsourcing activities, it's a beautiful thing, not having to manage secretaries or assistants or any of that bull crap. I get to really just focus on myself. But there's pros and cons to everything because I can't do everything myself, and I got to reach out for support. So understanding that no man, woman, whatever is an island, and we need support, and asking ourselves, how do we get our support? How do we get our support? And hitting that on the front end. Do you need a mentor? Do you need a coach? Do you need to join an organization? What do we need to have people support us? And this could even be friends, family, peers, coworkers, bosses. This could be anyone. We need to figure out, though, who will support us in our corner. And the word that we wanted to tie to is insights. Insights. Being able to make these insights, as a lot of times we have the answer, right? We have the answer, but we won't pull this answer out of ourselves until we're sitting down with another individual that we respect, that we love, we trust, and we're able to just get it out there, clarify it, boom, it cements his knowledge, and then boom, we're able to take tangible action, and then it kind of, you see how these all feed into each other. So that's why we have all four of the elements. And then coming in at number 4, after support, we have reflection. So reflection. So reflection's key word that we wanted to add on here is adapt. We want to be able to adapt. And there is a beautiful model. I have answered these questions so many freaking times. I can't even express it. What is working? What is not working? What are you going to do different? If we can just come back to this and touch up on this and use the power of reflection day in and day out, I believe we can set ourselves apart and become wildly successful. So these were the 4 elements. These are the 4 elements I got for success. And let's add to a few questions on here. Let's kind of run back over through these. Good morning. Good morning. How's everyone doing this morning? So I wanted to, under knowledge. So under the knowledge, how are we going to gain this knowledge? What can we do to truly learn? It can be podcasts. It can be books. It can be grabbing coffee with a possible mentor, somebody who you look up to in the industry. Something along these lines is very, very powerful and very helpful. So how are you going to gain your knowledge? So for number 1. Number 2, we talked about action is, what do I want to do? This is a very powerful question because action takes emotion, positive emotion, the right environment. There's a lot of different pieces. And this can be as simple or as complicated as we want to make it, really. And accepting the fact that life will not change unless we change. So let's ask ourselves, what do I want to do? Because if you can clearly answer this question, I think it makes it a lot easier to pick out the next step and start finding enjoyment in that action piece that we're trying to do. I'm sick and tired of being in a rush all the time. I'm sick and tired of like everything that I do is all about this end goal, when in reality, I just want to have autonomy and do what it is that I want to do right here, right now, because that's all I actually have. So if I can answer that question, what do I want to do? I think it makes taking action that much easier, such as creating and improving stuff for the show, or writing out blogs, or doing the things that I know that are necessary for my own goals, but I've hand selected the things that I can do today that'll get me closer, but I can really just enjoy today because that's what's most important. In really being honest, saying on that action piece, what will get me one step closer to my number 1 goal? What is your number one goal? I think that's worth identifying. And if you have issues with that, please reach out to me directly. I have tons and tons of resources and classes and other things that we can sit down and do to really help identify that kind of stuff. But really, we need to know the number one goal so we can find number 3, the people who will support us. Who will support us? No man is an island. Asking yourself that question, who will support me? Who do you want to support you? I think, for example, my life coach, I look up to him like a father. He's like one of my close friends, and he's just really good with business. So it's a great combination. I get excited to talk to the guy. That is probably what we want. So we get excited about working on the things that we want to work on. So asking yourself, who do you enjoy that you could collaborate, brainstorm, work with? Maybe it's a friend. Maybe it's your boss. Maybe you like what I got to say and you want to reach out to me. Whatever we're trying to do is we got to make sure to find that support, because no person can do it by themselves. Not even one person business says it's just too much. So lastly, we have reflection. So the 4th on our last elements was reflection, and going over this golden framework. If we could do anything this morning, journal out and answer these questions. What's working? What's not working? What do I want to do different now? If we can just answer those questions, I answer this pretty much every single week. I meet with my business coach, and it's super helpful. You'd be blown away. You just know the answer. You're like, yeah, I really shouldn't be watching 2.5 hours of TV before I go to bed tonight. That's not working. That's not working. What is working is getting up earlier. And so I actually got up earlier this morning and I was feeling on top of it. And I made my thumbnail for this video. I wrote out the show notes. I referenced a handful of articles. I was looking at some other coaching websites and taking down notes on how people are talking, communicating, their landing pages, just learning, taking more things in as I am finishing up my own master class and the software behind it. So it's like, what's working, what's not working, and then what can I do different now? And when we apply these 4 pillars to go through these 4 elements of success, I believe it makes it that much easier and that much more possible. So that's kind of all I really had today. So shorter episode. So I kind of roughly was going to talk about this for 20 minutes. But I think we wrapped up quick, and I think we got the message across. So hopefully this was helpful. And don't be scared to answer these questions, right? So under knowledge, let's go ahead and do one little wrap up for maybe some of us who are tuning in late this morning, and maybe some of us who want just a little brief recap. So this is for my short-term content. So I have this long-form content that I'm making each morning show. That's my waterfall approach to content. I have a class on this that goes into deeper detail on this, but you want to have some type of anchor for your content, and then you have the main base for the idea, and then you pull a bunch of different variables or ideas out of that stream, that waterfall as you're going. So for example, this morning show, and then pulling out like a blog post on it, pulling out short-term content on it, pulling out other pieces of content on it. So it's not so much work, because it's going to be a lot to do this stuff all the time, as you know, because we are on episode 351, not stopping till we get to 1,000. So this was the 4 elements of success. Number 1, knowledge base. How are we learning? Asking ourselves that question constantly. Number 2, what actions are we taking to get one step closer to my number 1 goal? Number 3, who's going to support you along the way? And number 4, reflecting and using this framework, what worked, what didn't, and what now, can really set ourselves apart. Again, folks, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, amazing, fun-filled Wednesday, September 6th, as I'm peacing out of here. I got a lot of stuff for myself to do, and I know you guys got some actions to take as well. So really think of what we can do to understand, to use these 4 elements of success. And it's a chair. It's a chair. There's 4 legs on the chair. And what happens when one of the legs of the chair is gone? We can maybe, if we contort our bodies and bend our spine sideways, we can balance for a little while, but eventually we'll fall or we'll screw up our health because we're not well rounded, right? I feel like that makes sense in my head, that you can get by without doing these things. But the question is, for how long? And is that the quality of life that you want to live? Good things to know, good things to understand. So thanks, folks. That's all I have for today. And in case you needed to hear it, I love you. You're a badass. You got this. Rock this Wednesday. And if you know anyone who could appreciate or share, learn from our message from the 4 elements of success, please share this video. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on the next episode 352, bright and early tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. Cheers, friends. I'm out.